Peace be upon you all, and welcome to my new lesson of English for the 11th grade. Let's start this lesson with this picture. What do you think this topic is going to be about? It's gonna be about writing a CV. You know that when you need to apply or when you want to apply for a job, you have to submit a good CV. So what does the CV mean? The CV is an abbreviation for the word curriculum vitae. It has another synonym, which is resume. So the CV or the resume بمعنى السيرة الذاتية. In this video, I'm going to give you some tips about writing an effective and a sufficient CV. The first tip, you have to pay attention to the length of your CV. It should be a short CV. So, more than 2 pages is gonna be something boring. The second tip, you have to be formal in your writing. Write formally and use formal fonts. Avoid other kinds of informal fonts like those in the right side. Tip number 3, try to match the demand. Don't send the same CV every time you apply to a job, because each job has different needs. Tip number 4, do not forget to mention your contact information, because people or the employer need to find you. Tip number 5, you have to write positively. When you write, pay attention to writing in a positive way, but don't lie. Try to use positive words to present yourself in a good way. Tip number 6, do not forget to mention a personal statement in which you have to make yourself stand out. Now, when you want to write a personal statement, you have to think of some ideas. For example, you have to start by looking at the job descriptions and identify the qualities, skills, and experience it requires. So you can use these to help you decide what to write about in the personal statement. Number 2, tell the reader why you are applying. Include your ambitions as well as your interests. Number 3, think about what makes you suitable. This could be relevant experience, skills, or achievements. Number 4, include any clubs or societies you belong to. Number 5, mention any relevant employment experience or volunteering you have done. Let's now move to tip number 7, which is the last one. You have to check for spelling and grammar mistakes. Of course, before submitting or sending your CV, you can ask someone to help you to check your writing. Of course, these tips are not enough to be able to write your CV. So let's have a sample. This is a sample of my own CV. At first, you should pay attention to the layout of your CV. You have to start with your name, bolded at the top of your CV. The first part, it should include your address. And you have to write your address starting from the smallest unit up to the country. For example, look at this address, starting from the street, then the area, and finally the city, and after that, country. The second part of your CV should be your contact information. Your contact information could include your email, your mobile number, your home telephone number. Moving to the third part should be about your personal data. They are not too much important, but you can add them, especially if the form of the CV requires you to enter them. For example, your marital status, your age, your date of birth, and the nationality. Let's move to the most important part of your CV, which reflects your character and your ability to work. Following the tips and the ideas suggested before, I have written this CV, imagining that I had just graduated and worked for a year in a UNORWA school, for example, and I want to apply for a job as a teacher in a governmental school. So, this is the personal statement. As a new teacher of English, I am enthusiastic about the opportunity to apply the knowledge and experience I have in your schools. In addition to my Bachelor English Language Education, I have got experience in teaching both primary and prep levels. Through the last year of work at Deir al-Balah School for Girls, I have been a trainer for an undergraduate teacher with whom I have implemented various new strategies for teaching the language. During such experience, I proved ability to work under pressure for a long time and to use excellent interpersonal skills. It's important to note that I'm not only interested in teaching the language, but also in translation. I have been a helpful assistant for the administration of my ex-school since I have passed 3 translation courses. Actually, I won't stop taking courses, either educational or linguistic, as I'm fond of developing each of myself, my career, and the new generation. That's to help my society get better. So this is a sample for personal statement. No one's personal statement should be an imitation of someone else. You have just to write it by yourself regarding what is suitable to be mentioned for the job you are applying. So you have to think of your interests, your abilities, your personal qualities. You have to add some important parts of your experience or of your volunteering that you have got or you have done. Moving to education, you have to pay attention that you need to write it in a reverse order, which means you have to start from the last part of your education. Here we can mention the year or the certificate or the bachelor degree that I have got, BA in English language teaching. So you have at first to mention the period of time, the period of your study, the starting year 2008, the ending year 2012, writing in a simple way, not full sentences. For example, BA in English, so you don't need to use your the pronoun I, for example, when you write about your education. Like BA in English language teaching with a very good degree, you can mention the percentage or not, and you have to mention the name or the place from which you get this degree and the country. So like writing notes. The previous one in a reverse order, from 2005 to 2008, getting a general secondary school certificate, science branch, degree average, and the school's name. Moving to the second page of the CV, writing about the experience of work. You can write the same way that I have used here. So you have to mention the period of time, the starting time, the ending time of your work, the title of the job that you have worked, and the place. The last part of the CV is mentioning other skills. You can talk about your extra hobbies, courses that you have taken, things connected to the job but you haven't mentioned in the personal statement. For example, since my primary ages, I loved reading English stories. During my university study, I have enjoyed watching British movies as well as passing 2 courses of English conversation. Therefore, I'm a fluent speaker of English. Actually, my eager to learn languages led me to join a university course of Hebrew. Regarding digital skills, I can use many programs, most importantly Office programs, as I have got an ICDL. My favorite hobbies include photography and writing thoughts. So as I have mentioned before, in the other skills paragraph, you can write about some of your hobbies, some courses you have taken, some of the most important points of your life circumstances. Thank you for watching this video about writing a CV, and I wish that you can now write your own CV following these instructions. Thank you again, and goodbye.